Oh, so one day I tweeted that we can't find an attestation to the Moors before 300 BC. And a friend hit me back, I think it was on Facebook, and a friend hit me back like with a link to a book who was talking about a king named Morisura. And this was during the time of Ramses. This would be like the 19th dynasty of Kemet. It was talking about a guy named Morisura, who was a king amongst the Kheta, or the Kheta, a colony lived amongst the Hittites. Actually, you can find them by looking up the royal house of Kheta. And Morisura was the son of Ketasura. And you know what I'm saying? And Morisura basically, he sent to Egypt asking Ramses for peace. Now, it was funny that he brought up Morisura when he was trying to find an attestation to the Moors, because the link between the Latin Mari, and he was making a connection between that Moor. But Morisura in ancient Egyptian language, or in the Ur-Kim, was called Marasara. That's how they would say Morisura, Marasara. And he was actually, he could have been black. I mean, because you looking for black Moors is what he was doing in ancient history. He could have been a brother, because you find, I'll get into that, but we find other history that say that, he could have been a brother. But, and that the Kheta could have been actually a black colony living amongst the Hittites, which would change a lot of history if you know anything about the lineage of Nefertiti, her supposedly coming from Dushrata, the Mitanni king, or what have you, blah blah blah. Well, that would change up a lot if we throw a black colony in the picture amongst the Hittites, which I found one, because Herodotus said so. If we think about before Ketasura, or before Ketasura and Morisura, there was a Maru Tanara. And Maru Tanara supposedly fraternized with Ramses the First. See what I'm saying? And we find in a letter sent from Ketasura to Ramses that Ramses II, or Ramesu Mariaman, that he was saying he wished to fraternize with Ramses the same way his forefather did with Ramses the First. And so, okay, that ain't got nothing to do with him being black. But if we look into the story in other places, we find Herodotus speaking about Ketasura, not Ketasura, Morisura. But Herodotus said Morisura was named Cytisorus. He said Morisura was named Cytisorus, the son. Actually, he said he was Cytisorus, the son of Phryxus, or Phrixus, the Colchian. Now, if we look into Herodotus' histories, we know it's been discredited. We'll talk about that too. That don't matter. If we look into what he said in his histories, what he said about the Colchians before he even mentioned Phryxus, excuse my pronunciation, before he even mentioned him, he said the Colchians were a black colony left in the river Phasis by Simroset, right? Or he called him Cirrhosis, on his way back from colonizing Greece. He said he left a colony of Colchians, which were black, in the river Phasis. Now, if we want to do the geography of the situation, we know that river, right now, if you look it up, you're going to find, well, that's the Phasis, that's Phasis, you want to look that up, but it's going to be called the Rione River, or the Rione River, or the Roani River, which is in the Caucasus. or it starts in the Caucasus Mountains. And so now we know we talking about the same area, damn near, because Hittites ruled that area, Angola or whatever they call it, Anatolia or whatever, excuse me, I don't know. But the whole area that I'm talking about, we know the Hittites ruled that area, right? Well, I'm just to stick to the Caucasus. That was the whole. Look up the Hittite kingdom and see where that was. It stretched far out all the way to the Mitanni Empire, what have you. But still, we find the Kheta, or the royal house of Kheta, a small colony within the Hittites, who now I just told you attestation by Herodotus that said they were black. So then when the brother told me that this was an attestation to the Moors, all the way back in the time of Ramses, I had to do with some knowledge, because I hear a lot of people say a lot of different things, and I'm one under the belief that, and I'm under the understanding that the Moors didn't have anything to do with Kemet myself. Okay, but when we find a certain attestation to Marisura, and actually if you look at the Karnak King list, the area he was from was called Marumar. Okay, but they wasn't the Egyptians though. Feel me? They rode with the Hittites, and they lived out. They descended from Egyptians, if you want to take Herodotus' word for it. But at the time between Senro Set, if I recall right, that's like the 12th dynasty, or Serosis, and then you want to get all the way up into the time of Ramses. That's a long period of time, you know, in between it. So that'll be about longer than Africans been in America, who were brought during the Atlantic slave trade, you know what I mean? So check out Kheta Sura, check out the Kheta, check out the royal house of Kheta, and tell me if you find any relation between Marisura and the Moors. But if you want to keep it 100, you gon' we talk about Hamilcar, Hannibal, and the Carthaginians, and them fighting with and against Numidians, or with Massalinsi or Syphax, Massalini or Syphax, excuse my memory, King Syphax. Then we're going to start talking about the first time we hear about Moors being attested to in history. You know what I'm saying? That's around the Punic Wars, about the time of the First and Second Punic Wars. Some of the mercenaries that Hannibal employed to fight with him against the Romans, that turned out that they switched up and started fighting with the Romans, then switched back and fought against the Romans during the Punic Wars.